Marcellus Sports Shooting Stars will bring the game to you, and it might be the biggest one so far this season. This Friday night, the undefeated 7-0 West York Bulldogs are home as their rival from down the road, New Oxford. The Colonials, also 7-0, coming to town, and I got the New Oxford coach on right now, Jason Warner. Thanks for jumping on with me.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I did a little digging and went back to an article I read about 2018, and it was talking about you getting hired as the coach,
hmm
and you were interim coach, I guess, in 2015. You were 2 and
hmm
8, and then they brought Coach Bowman in for 2 years. They went 0 and 20. The program was not doing well, to put it bluntly. Coach, now talking to Ron Miller, coach of West York Bulldogs, he's saying that the Oxford Colonials is the golden standard of Division Two. You guys are champions, been champions. Coach, talk a little bit about that transformation over the last 7 years or so.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for us as kids, right? So, anybody that knows anything about coaching knows that, you got to have great kids, in your program to be able to do, the sorts of things that we've been able to do over the last, 7 or 8 seasons. So, that all started, back then it was Braden Long and Abdul Janae and some of those cats. They were juniors when we sort of, took the reins of this thing. And, they really, they bought into, what the staff and I wanted to be able to do. And, sort of the rest is history is kind of the way you say it. But, from that moment forward, they sort of put us on a trajectory that we're on now, still to this day. And I think that's been a huge part of what we've been able to accomplish, as a program. All started then, right? And then once they set that trajectory, each year, each senior class sort of takes it and says, okay, here's the stamp that we want to put on it. All right, here's the legacy that we want to leave behind, and it's just sort of built since then. So, again, all this is because of the kids that we have in our program.
Well, you got some unbelievable kids right now, and some seniors now that's bringing leadership here. Of course, got to talk about Braden Billman. Got to talk about Brody Holmes. Of course, Luke Fry. Coach, talk about some of those seniors, and I'm sure I missed a ton of them, but and that leadership that they've been bringing, on the field, in the locker room, and at practice.
Yeah, I mean, we're blessed to have a large senior class. We got 22 seniors, and of that group, there's so many of them that are leaders in our locker room, on the practice field, on the game field. The guys you mentioned, I throw Braden Bowman in there, Alex Brown, Kai Bessio, just a great group of guys who they understand what we're trying to do, not just on the football field, but also, in the classroom, sort of as a program as a whole. And they've really bought into what we want to do. And they sort of set that standard not just for themselves, but also for the guys around them. And one of the biggest things that we always said with some of these guys is it's not just their leadership ability and how good they are, it's the ability they have to make the players around them better, right? And that's really what has helped us to be in the position we're in right now.
Well, it's been, you guys are on a streak when it comes to head versus West York. I believe it dates back to 2013 or 2014 since the last time they've won against you guys, Coach. Obviously, that's all in the past. Focused on this Friday night. But what do you say to the kids out there? I mean, in Division Two, it's been I think since 2021, in Gettysburg since you lost. How do you keep them amped and keep them focused on that kickoff 7 o'clock Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think the goals that this group has for themselves has sort of been the driving force of that focus. And every week we try to take it as hey, we're trying to go 1-0 this week, right? As a coaching staff, and that's hard to do with 16-year-old kids.
Yeah.
It's really easy kind of to lose sight, but we remind them constantly. It's part of our weekly game plan. We have a presentation we share out with the kids. And the second slide in that game plan is always our pyramid of success, right? Which is what we use to to sort of set our goals for the season, because it's not all about winning a league title or winning district games and those types of things. There's little stepping stones along the way that you have to be able to hit, marks you have to be able to hit in order to achieve those big goals in the end. So we really try to bring that focus in on what those small things are. We want to strike first. We want to win the second half every week. We want to win the turnover battle, all those sort of games within the game. And that's sort of where we try to put their focus, right? Because if they take care of those things, then the big things will take care of themselves. We're 6-5 all time against West York. I think we beat them the first time we played them, and then they beat us 5 straight. And now we beat them 5 straight. So I think it's going to be a
Cool.
great matchup between Coach Miller and us, and we're really looking forward to that.
Well, we talked about it before, but you were a wide receiver, I guess, Susquehanna University.
Mhm.
He was a coach there. You guys are very familiar with each other. Both your teams are very well balanced when it comes to offense, scoring around 38 a clip. When it comes to defense, giving up around 10 or even slightly under with West York right now. Should be what we call a barn burner, and I know all about those. So can't wait for it. But coach, I do want to ask you, man, Luke
Mhm.
Fry, I mean, coming in over 1,000 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, just one interception. Obviously, I know he's got an offer from Dickinson College, which says, how smart he is right off the bat. But just talk a little bit about him and what you've seen over the last few years with Fry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for Luke is he's a student of the game, right? So he doesn't want to just be, the numbers, sort of are what they are. It's not really what he cares about at the end of the day. He really cares about making sure that he's putting his team in the best position possible to win every week. And he does that through film study, right? So there's, just yesterday, we talked a little bit. We're looking at film from last year's game with West York, and there's a couple of situations that we commented on, post game from last season, and he's asking me questions about. So he's digging in the film, not just of
Nice.
this year, but also of last year, just to see what they gave us, coverages, things like that, and saying, hey, if they do this, do I have the green light to take this? And he again, he's doing that studying, doing that homework, right, in hopes that he can put his team in the best position possible to win on Friday night, because that's really what he cares about. So, kudos to him. And again, yeah, he's a smart kid in the classroom as well, but all that stuff sort of pays off, on Friday nights, because he takes care of the ball, right? He always wants to make sure that we're in a good spot, and having a guy like that is really helpful.
Well, it seems like a lot of your players, coach, are not just football. Like they have multi sports that, obviously Braden Billman, he's got a Cornell track and field, of course, football as well. A Holmes, three-sport athlete and a beast of all that. Um, Basically basketball all-star. And then, of course, you mentioned Braden Bowman. He's got D3 offers for lacrosse. You were a track and field coach there as well, right?
Yep,
How,
that's
how
correct.
important do you think that is to, I mean, some of these parents are like, no, I'm putting my kid in basketball and I'm going to, get him coaching the whole way up and that's what he's going to do, or football. What do you think about, the multi-sport?
I mean, we value that here at New Oxford. I think a lot of our coaches are in the same of the same opinion or like-mindedness of that. We had our youth camp back in the summer. We bring all the little kids in, and we put them through drills. We do all sorts of stuff with them. It was really cool, good experience for our kids. We have our high school kids lead it, and then when that was over, we went around the group, and I had each of my high school players introduce themselves, and every single player that was there, all right, as a multi-sport kid, and that was really the point that we're trying to drive home to those young kids at a young age is, you don't have to play baseball in the spring and then go play fall ball all fall long and that kind of stuff. You don't have to play, basketball in season, then go play AAU all year round, and not do anything else, right? So we have all these guys here that are multi-sport guys, and they're seeing success, right? They're seeing success in the sports they're in, not just football, right? They're seeing success in basketball, track and field, whatever the case may be. And, we really value that multi-sport kid here at New Oxford. And I think that, you'll see some of those stats always come out, like somebody wins the national championship, they'll put out there, oh, this many guys on the roster played track in high school, or this many guys, played lacrosse or this, that, or the other. And again, we just think that, that's more valuable for their growth, right? We want our kids competing, Okay. I mean, yeah, the weight room's fun and it's an important part of our off season, but there's no competition in there, on a day-to-day basis. Whereas if they're in track and field, they're competing every day. Right. And, we value both sides of that. So,
Well, yeah, definitely. I'd like to echo that message for all the young kids out there, parents. Keep them playing, keep them
yes.
active, obviously off
Yep.
the screens as much as possible, unless they're
Yeah. 100%.
like Fry and watching film. But it's all going to be on display this Friday night. There are a lot of D1 players, D2, D3 talent on both sides. Coach, I do want to get your thoughts on their quarterback, just a sophomore. 7 weeks in a row, he's been one of our sports shooting stars, quarterbacks of the week. Talk a little bit about Jensen and how he controls that offense for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, he does a nice job, and we've said that, our staff meeting on Sunday, that he doesn't command the field like a sophomore would, so he definitely, the experience he had last year, I think has helped, in his growth as a young quarterback. But when you watch him on film, he brings he brings a dynamic to the game that when you have a quarterback like that, you get it. You know what I mean? When you don't have a quarterback like that, then it just shows sometimes. But they definitely have a nice kid, with him and with him calling the plays. And yeah, he puts the defense in a pinch, right? Because he can run the ball, he can throw the ball downfield. He does a lot of nice things. So that's something we're trying to prepare for throughout the course of the week this week.
Well, you got the defense to do it. Like I said before, like number one and number two defenses bad on out. Offenses both coming in sharp too at 38 a clip. Telling everybody, get out to the Bulldog Stadium early this Friday night. It very well could be a complete sellout. And they're calling it the banger on Bannister. Get out there early. If you can't make it, you can watch it on Sports Shooting Stars because we bring the game to you. Coach Warner, I'll be out there early. Hope to catch you on the 50-yard line, and best of luck.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sports Shooting Stars. We bring the game to you.